Hey, Kat, lovely to see you. I'm so
Hi.
excited speaking to you today.
Thank you for having me.
So, first of all, before we set off, can you tell everyone who you are, where you are, and what your portfolio looked like before we started working together?
Yes, so I didn't have a portfolio before we started working together. Well, not originally. We've been chatting for a little while. So I guess I think when we officially started working together, I just bought my first property. But I'm currently based in the UK. I spend a lot of time traveling. So we're sort of usually in Asia, but we're having a short few months back in the UK, catching up with people. We're going to do Christmas here, and then we'll probably pop off again in the new year.
Love it. Nomading on property. I love it.
Yeah.
So, if you rewind to when we first started chatting, what problems did you have about growing your portfolio with your sort of nomadic lifestyle?
So I think for me, it was wanting to do too much. I had like really big dreams about all of the different investments that I wanted to make and all the different projects I wanted to do. It was just about I needed to rein it in and really focus on exactly what I could and wanted to do. And then also just to think about how I could do that whilst I'm still traveling around because I hadn't put all those jigsaw pieces together yet. I knew that I wanted to be able to continue traveling and I wanted to sort of focus more on the property side of things because I just bought this one property. And so at that point I had two because we had our residential house as well, which we were also renting out. So, I knew that there were just jigsaw pieces that needed to be fitted together in order to achieve what I wanted to achieve, but I just wasn't quite sure how to go about it. And also, I think really appreciating the need to have a very focused kind of strategy on what I wanted to do, rather than be like, I'm going to do this development and I'm going to do that, buy to let, and I'm going to do that serviced accommodation. It was just, yeah, it needed a little bit of direction.
And also, you say you had a lot going on, and you were, traveling as well, but you were also working full time as well, totally outside of
Yeah,
right. So you had these three things,
yeah.
property, where you wanted to focus.
Yeah, and of course we home educate too, so that's in the mix as well. We're not those travelers who the kids are going to school whilst we're traveling. So yeah.
You have a lot going on, a lot. So, why did you want to grow this portfolio solo? Why did you want to do it yourself rather than like some of the other ways that I know you're aware of, like sourcing agents and joint venturing and things like that? What was the appeal for the solo way?
Oh, that's a really good question. I like getting my hands dirty and I like having ownership. And I guess to some extent, I'm a little bit of a control freak. I want to have ownership over what I'm doing. And actually, I'm just really interested in property. I really like looking at houses. So yeah, I think for me to be able to kind of really understand the ins and outs and the why behind the decisions that we make and to go out there and actually do that research and make those decisions myself rather than kind of have some passed to me on a plate. I like the details and the juicy bits and that's where all of that is.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so when you think about the steps that we took in us working together, what do you feel are the key steps that we took that made the most difference to you?
Oh, that's a good question as well. I think having a good chat about it first, actually, and really understanding like what you were able to offer to me and what I needed. Because of course, it's great to say, I can help you with this, this, and this. But I think as an individual first, you really need to be able to understand, that you need some help with something and what those areas are. And although that being said, like I knew that I was going to benefit from some one-to-one time with you to really kind of get what was going on in here onto the page. But actually, it's, this whole idea of the unknown unknowns until you actually sit down with someone and you start discussing it, you don't really know what you don't know. So it was just really, really helpful.
Yeah, and so we sort of did the strategy intensive first, didn't we? And just kind of like
Mm,
do your ideas and your vision and like built that out into a plan that went beyond us working together, basically, as opposed to be
yeah.
like now.
And also, I think what had helped me in particular is that I'd already done a couple of your shorter courses. And so I kind of had a little bit of an understanding of the way that you worked. And, I knew that that kind of appealed to me. And it kind of gave me some foundational knowledge so that when we came in to do that strategy intensive, I could really build on something that was already there. It wasn't like I was coming in with no understanding.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so having taken the steps now and done the courses, and we've got your strategy sorted, what have you been able to do and achieve, and what does your property world look like for you right now?
Oh, that's exciting. So what have I been able to do and achieve? We've pulled together the strategy and we've kind of ironed out any areas where there were still question marks and unknowns. I've pulled together a process so that I can continue with the viewings when I leave the UK again. And actually, I'm using that process even whilst I'm in the UK because the properties that I'm investing in are kind of 300 miles away from where I live. So it doesn't make sense for me to be going up there every week anyway. Um, so we've got this kind of process in place, we've got the strategy in place, and I am at the point now of viewing, and I'm looking at offering on my next property, which is super exciting. And I'm also talking to potential investors and thinking ahead to property number 4.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So having got to this point now, what are you excited about next?
Wow. Well, actually, the whole time that I've been working with you, it's just gotten me super excited. And I think one of the things that was really beneficial for me was getting that clarity of the roadmap, what's coming and at what points. And that has enabled me to make some more long-term decisions around my job and my work and what I'm doing for employment. And I've actually changed my employment since we started doing this work together so that I can reduce my hours and really concentrate on the property business, which has been great. Because one of the things that I've really taken from the work with you is being able to see that actually I can make the property business fit the time that I have available. And if I want to say have 8 hours a week that I put into the property business, then I can do that, It doesn't have to be a 30-hour a week job. So yeah, it's been really nice. I've already made some big decisions and big changes. And as of as of Friday, I'm kind of in my new role with reduced hours and just really concentrating now on property, which is super exciting. And I feel like by taking those steps, actually that kind of deadline on or that milestone that we set out on my strategy is not unachievable. It's there, and I just need to keep walking that path.
Oh, brilliant. I'm just absolutely thrilled to hear some of the steps that you've taken since we sort of finished the intensive. It's been amazing to get your messages and your updates about your work decisions that you've made and things like that. So how would you looking back over the last 6 months, what's been your biggest sorry, not the last 6 weeks, but the last 6 weeks, the previous 6 weeks, what has been your biggest takeaway or the biggest learning that you've had?
Oh my goodness, there's been so many of them, Julie. There's been a lot actually. And I think, I don't know, there's been a lot of very detailed lessons. I've learned about the kind of intricate parts of how the systems are working. And that's been really, like, on a practical and logistical level, that's been really, really valuable. But I think one of the biggest sort of lessons for me in particular has been about kind of sticking to the script, having this strategy and really thinking about it, making very intentional, informed decisions and really sticking with it. Because I am one of those people that if even mention a new exciting shiny thing, I'm like, oh, look over there. And it's really hard because it's property. I'm really excited by property. I see a thing pop up and it's at auction and it's not at all what I was interested in doing originally. And so and I think when you make those kind of impulsive, uneducated, uninformed decisions like that, that's when property can go wrong. And also it's when you can stall progress because instead of walking in this linear fashion, you're sort of going over here and then you're going over there. And, it has less of a snowball effect. So I think for me, really honing in on exactly what that strategy is and really learning the importance of sticking with that strategy. And you can go off piste in the future, once you've got a bit more flexibility. But at this stage, it's really important to stick with the strategy. And that for me has been really a very important lesson and a bit of a mantra that I kind of come back to when I find myself going, oh, shiny new house that's not within my strategy,
Oh, well done. I'm really, it is so important to have that focus. And it's really hard to say no to stuff and put the blinkers on. And I've really, observed that you are definitely doing that. So yeah, that's a really great takeaway. Okay, so how would you describe your experience of us working together one to one?
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I love your ability to kind of recognize when there's something that we maybe need to dive into a little bit more. Maybe I haven't fully thought about something, or I've thought about it, but I maybe haven't considered it in a slightly different way. And you're really good at sort of pulling you back and going, that's great, but let's just talk about this a little bit more, and kind of playing that sort of devil's advocate, if you like, and just making sure that everything's been considered. And I think it's really valuable. I kind of saw you as a bit of like an accountability buddy, you know, who was sort of keeping me in check. And I think, you know, that's sometimes exactly what you need. You know, you need that objective viewpoint from outside to watch what you're doing and go, okay, this is good, but how about this? So yeah, I really found a lot of value in that in particular.
Oh, it's really great to hear. Thank
And
you.
of course, your expertise, you know, because you've done a lot of stuff that I haven't yet done. So that was just really valuable to be able to kind of pick your brains and go, oh, Julie, I want to do this, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. Or have you got any advice? Can you send me an email for someone? Or so that was all really, really valuable as well.
Oh, well, I absolutely, there's so many parts of your journey that I love. You know, you had so much freedom already, and that you were location freedom, and you had like a job that kind of like gave you that, but you just had this really big vision of how you wanted things to be different, and you wanted more time freedom. And in spite of everything that's happened, I just really admire this about what you've done. You've had so much going on, like the day job, you've been to and from the UK, you know, you're homeschooling at the same time. Yet you have just been so focused and intentional on carving out time to make time for your property goals. And then subsequently, you've made some really big decisions and taken some huge positive, you know, some huge steps and decisions to move forwards, you know, not only with your work, but on other properties. So, you know, it has not been plain sailing for you at all. But I just really admire how you've just found, like almost like with a crowbar, you just found that time in the days consistently. And doesn't, you know, it's not necessarily been a lot of time, but you found the time to do the important things that have really mattered, that have moved the dial forwards. So yeah, I really really admire what you've done, and I'm really excited to see what comes next for you, and just to see you soar with it all. It really really fills me with joy.
Oh, thank you. And actually that was one of the you know, I think you have to think, don't you, when you're making an investment, you know, you've got a pot of cash and you think, okay, what can I invest this into? I could invest it into my business, my properties, some training, whatever. And you know, I had this same kind of internal monologue and external one with my partner when deciding, you know, how to move this business forward. And for me, actually, you know, the investment in someone like yourself to work with, it of course it's about the experience and it's about the knowledge and all of that they can bring to the table, but it is also about having somebody to keep you in check and go, you know, okay, we're meeting this day, let's make sure everything gets done. And if you're anything like me, that can be really difficult because your plate gets full, right? And you just start deprioritizing stuff. And I think for a lot of women in particular, what we tend to deprioritize is the stuff that we want to be doing because we feel a responsibility to prioritize the things that are important to those around us, like our children, our partners, whoever it might be. And so, like, actually putting my money where my mouth was and going, no, this is something for me that I want to invest in for my personal career, business growth was really, really important and well worth the money, because I would not have made the progress that I have made with you had I been trying to do that alone, kind of without someone nudging me on the
Yeah.
side, going, "Come on, let's do this." So yeah, it was really good, really, really useful.
And you've done it, like, I, you know, I've seen you sort of put the cogs together, if you like, in your own virtual property machine, which is yours. It, you know, it's sort of, it is totally the way that you want it to be, that's going to work for you, that's going to allow you to, like, you know, scale for your next few purchases. So you've got your own virtual property machine now, is the way, yeah, is the way I see it.
Yeah, super exciting. So thank you. It was an
So,
amazing time with you. Really, really enjoyed it.
oh, and likewise, and likewise. So, final question for me is, who would you recommend working with me, and, you know, to who? what sort of person would you recommend to work with me?
Oh, 100%. 100% recommend working with you. And actually, I wouldn't even just recommend people work with you if they're interested in living nomadically, because I think that you've got a lot of really valuable knowledge and experience and recommendations to share with people who are even based in the UK. But anyone who is kind of looking to really kickstart that property journey, who perhaps feels like they need a little bit of direction. They might feel like they already know what they want to do with their strategy, but like me, they need someone there to kind of hold them accountable and make sure they hit those milestones and prioritize that stuff. But also anyone who's just like really curious actually, and who hasn't even, they might be totally new to property. I feel like your courses and the kind of one-to-one work that you offer is really ideal for anybody who wants to start immersing themselves in this and understand how it might possibly work for them, even if they only have limited time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, oh, Kat, it's been amazing to speak to you. And thanks for talking to me and, everyone else who's listening as well. And massive, massive congratulations.
Thank you.
I made it work. And yeah, really, really excited to hear what happens next for you in 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.